What's up, guys? John Sonnemus here from simpleprogrammer.com, and I've got a question for you. Have you ever seen the television series MacGyver? MacGyver is basically this show about this guy that was this sort of scientist, sort of tinkerer. He just knew a lot of really interesting stuff, just this really smart guy, and he would always put together stuff and figure out, from like a piece of bubble gum and a paper clip and, some household chemicals, he'd be able to build a bomb, or he'd be able to create some kind of solution to whatever problem that they had, right? And so he was kind of this jack of all trades. Like, he could do a little bit of everything, right? And so the reason why I bring this up is because in the software development world, right, what you'll find is that nobody wants to hire a MacGyver, but everyone wants you to be a MacGyver. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that no one wants to hire a generalist, but they want you to have a general set of skills. What people want to hire is a specialist, right? And so there's a huge value in software development. If you want to really take your career to the next level in the AI world, where the job market has become a lot more tough, there's a huge value in specializing and having what we call a niche. Okay, now let me give you some examples of this, right? So let's suppose that you went into the doctor's office, right? Most likely, the doctor that you're going to talk to first is going to be a general practitioner or a GP. Now, that doctor probably makes a decent amount of money, right? He went to medical school, got the degree, probably is doing fairly well, right? However, let's suppose that you had a heart condition. You probably wouldn't go into a generalist. In fact, you would probably want to talk to a specialist, a heart surgeon, for instance, right? Now, how much more money do you think the heart surgeon makes than the general practitioner? And also, how much more valuable you think those skills are, right? So a general practitioner, there's a lot of them, right? So if you went to go find a doctor, there's a ton of doctors that you could choose from. There's a lot of competition. But I think in probably your area, there might be only a handful of heart surgeons. So if you need open heart surgery, you don't have very many places to turn. And so that open heart surgery specialist, right, the heart surgeon, he's going to make a ton more money than the generalist, right? The generalist doctor. The same applies in the software development world. In any skill set, it's very important to become what I call a specialist rather than a generalist if you want to really rise up the ranks. There's a lot of reasons for this. As you're building up your personal brand, which you should be doing if you're not doing already, the biggest common mistake that I see is developers are trying to be broad. So they want to display all the different skills that they have, which is great. It's great that you have a lot of skills. However, the thing is that you have to pick one thing to be known for and market yourself, right? So I'll give you a good example of this, right? So I have a program, right? I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but it's called Rockstar Developer University. And what I do in that program, if you were to join Rockstar Developer University, is you would learn how to build your personal brand as a developer, right? That's exactly specifically what it does, okay? Now, I don't teach you in that program how to use AI. I don't teach you how to pass job interviews. I don't teach you how to level up your technical skills, how to learn a programming language. I teach you how to build your brand as a software developer. Okay, that's my specialty for that program, for that brand, for Rockstar Developer University. Now, why is that important? Okay, you're watching this video. Maybe you go to a conference or a party, you're talking with some friends, and someone says, oh yeah, I'd really like to build my brand as a software developer. What's going to come to your mind when someone says that? You're probably gonna say, oh, that's crazy. I just watched a video of this guy, John Sonnemus. Anyway, he's got this program, Rockstar Developer University. You should check that out. There you go. You see how easy it is for word of mouth to spread, for someone to know who you are. Now, imagine if you're trying to build your brand as a software developer and you've got different skill set. You got some C# programming, you're full stack developer, you know Python, and you've worked on embedded systems and all of these different things, okay? And you want to build a reputation for yourself, okay? It'd be very, very difficult for someone to classify you, right? We want to classify people. We want to put them into a box, just like I said with Rockstar Developer University. You can put that into a nice little neat box so you know who to tell about that, right? So the issue is that if you are a generalist like that, I'm not saying you can't get good jobs. You can, of course you can, right? You can apply for a lot of different jobs, and a lot of companies are saying, okay, well, hey, if you've got programming skills and you can prove that you're a good developer, we'll hire you. But the thing is, if you don't have a very specific niche, a very specific specialty, it's gonna be really hard for you to grow a big brand and to be very well known, because it's gonna be hard to be well known for being a generalist, right? Like I said, nobody wants to hire MacGyver, but everyone wants you to be a MacGyver. So it's good that you have a variety of skills and that will come in useful in a job. But for marketing yourself, what we really want to do is to pick a very small niche, a very specific specialty, so that you can become a big fish in a small pond, not a small fish in a big pond. And you can always expand out later, right? This is a very, very critical thing to learn, right? And so what happens is, let's say that you specialize, right? So I've got a guy in my Rockstar Developer University program, and his specialty is he is teaching developers, web developers, accessibility, right? How to program for accessibility in web development, right? That's very, very specific. And what happens with that situation is that if you've got something that very specific, you can market yourself for that. If he wants to speak at a conference, he can submit a talk, and he's the expert on that because he's got his YouTube channel or his blog or his website all about that, right? People will learn his name when they're dealing with accessibility. Like, he'll be known as an accessibility guy, right? He can get on podcasts and talk about developing accessible applications and the constraints and things that you need to think about for that, right? And so that allows him to build this brand. Now, this developer, he's talented. He's got a lot of other skills that he has under his belt, but he's choosing to market himself in this way because that's going to give him these opportunities. And what happens is when you market yourself and you have a specialty like that, is people come to you instead of you having to come to them, right? So he's going to get job offers. He's going to get consulting gigs. He's going to get all of these type of opportunities that normally you'd have to go and seek out, but they're going to find him because he's the expert and he's positioned himself as the expert. Okay. Now, if you want some help doing this, if it sounds like something that you're jiving with this, you're like, yeah, this makes sense, John. Okay. Yeah, I'm down with this. Check out the link down below. You can check out Rockstar Developer University. I just launched this, and I'm helping developers to build their personal brands. That's what I specialize in. That's what I do. If you want to build up your brand as a software developer and get all the benefits that come with that, click link down below and check it out.